Howdy y'all, Joe Hills here, recording as I always do in Nashville, Tennessee, and today on the southern end of the modern district of the Hermitcraft 6 server, we are looking out over a couple buildings, a couple structures. We got Cub Fan's fancy little house, we got his fancy little garden with his fancy little horse, you know, everything is going well for Cub Fan. He's got a great little home. I, on the other hand, I started constructing this build, this Ministry of Truth, as a place for folks all over the server to leave information about themselves. And a few folks have, but not enough of them. Once again, this was inspired by the 300-foot-tall ziggurat in George Orwell's novel 1984. And when I started on this project, I thought, okay, I don't want to go that tall, so I'll just sink part of it into the ocean. And then it'll be like, it's 300 feet tall if you go all the way down there and just kind of have like little expanding outward pieces. It would look okay. But then I thought, who would partially submerge a ziggurat? Who is going to build a ziggurat that's mostly underwater? Nobody's going to do that on purpose. You're going to build the ziggurat, and then the water is going to show up on its own. So it kind of gives the structure, the implication here is that this structure is old, like super old. But then I was thinking, like, you know, in 1984, the party never admits to any sort of wrongdoing. So maybe what I should do is I should take some blue glass and put it along the sides of the columns here to give the impression that the party line is that the building itself created the ocean. Like, it gives the sense of water falling down. But yeah, I don't know. It is nice seeing a few folks have gotten little figurines in. We got Iskall back there. We got Cub Fan over here. We have Biffa 2001 looking awesome with his fishing pole. We've got Isuma Void, myself, and then we got a bunch of random blocks that I've accidentally placed in the hands of the sculptures. You know what? But that's okay. On the whole, I'm really happy with how this is coming. And I want to move on to getting the slogans up on the sides of the top of the structure. However, I've also realized I don't like exactly how tall that, like, very top square is. I feel like it should be more boxy and rectangular. So I'm thinking maybe if we slice it around here, that might look good. But you know what? Oh, hey, night is nearly upon us. Why don't we run into Cub Fan's house? It's actually really cool. From his bed, you get a perfect view of this structure. Which way is the up bubbles? The bubbles. You see, we went up in the bubble column. But yeah, so you get a perfect view of the building. Just from right here. From here, it's pretty clear that that top part just, it needs a shave. So I'm thinking maybe we bring it down like 3 or 4 blocks, and that will, on the whole, improve the build. Oh, wonderfully, we can now jump down there and not end up in, I was going to say in a fenced-in pit. Instead, we're just in a pit with some blocks, which is also acceptable. But yeah. So let's go ahead and run over this way. One thing, let's see. I got a few things I wanted to talk about today. For one thing, I wanted to celebrate that I have sent in my final student loan payment after 10 years of educational debt. I finished college 10 years ago, and I'm finally all paid up, which is one less thing to worry about. I'm really excited about that not being something else to worry about. Like, that is... It doesn't seem like a big deal, because by the end, you know, if all you've known since you graduated from college was stressing out about money and paying it off, you're just kind of like, well, I'm pretty good at being stressed out about money now. I could just do this indefinitely. But it's still nice to not have to. So, I don't know. I'm excited. Thank you guys to everybody who backs me on Patreon or watches my YouTube videos like you're doing now, or in any way financially supports me, because it is definitely partially thanks to you guys that I was able to get this stuff paid off a little bit earlier than I would have otherwise. So let's see here. If we want to bring this down a few levels, what I really probably want is a Silk Touch pick, but what I really don't have is also a Silk Touch pick. Hey, who's that down there? Is that Iskall putting the thing? Howdy. Oops. Down there. You know what I might do is I might leave this roof where it is, but just lower everything else, right? So let's say that we cut this down to here, this point. and we leave the center pillar of the roof there. That might be okay. But then we just kind of make this, like we put in another balcony at this level with the... I'm going to leave the glass in for now because I don't have a good way to replace it if I break it. But yeah, if we leave this in like so, how would we even do this? We would put a wooden floor. Well, but that ruins the skylight element if we have a wooden floor here. I'm conflicted about this. Deeply, deeply conflicted. Because I want it to look awesome when CubFan looks out his window. And I think that the way we have it now does not look awesome. Arguably, this part of it is a flaw in the design as well. Dang it. Okay. Let's go ahead and pick these blocks back up so they don't despawn. Just take these like so. I am excited about a few other things though going on. Let me just get my thoughts collected. No! Why would I immediately jump? I'm leaving that open. Okay. Dang it. Okay, so we're going to jump up to here. We're going to not jump in the pit. We're going to delete these with our pickaxe eraser. We're going to slowly advance forward without falling in any pits. Yeah, I'm looking at it, and I guess it doesn't really make sense to leave these arms in the central pillar if we're going to cut everything off lower. Well... No! Dang it, blocks. Everything about blocks is hard in this game today. I'm just so distracted, I guess. I got PlayOnCon coming up, which is one of my favorite conventions I go to every year with my friends. It's going to be my 10th PlayOnCon. Going to be judging a Minecraft build contest and hanging out with pals. It's going to be a good time playing some board games, playing some video games, maybe even participating in some tournaments. It's like a really good place for video game tournaments if you're not a professional gamer. Because like they have Mario Kart tournaments at other conventions where it's like, okay, the prize is thousands of dollars and the people are like the best Mario Kart players in the world. But at PlayOnCon, it's like me and a bunch of people that I kind of know playing Mario Kart. That's all I really need out of a contest. I want a bracket where everybody's having fun, not a bracket where the best people in the world are trying to prove that they're the best in the world. You know? Sometimes that's just a little easier. Okay. So, actually... I might want to have these come across here at that point. Kind of like we had before on the other one, yeah. So we'll just kind of bring these over then to here. And to here. Not 100% sure I love this design, but, you know, it kind of works. Let's see, this is going to come here. Oh good, now I actually just have a walkway that I can come over this way. Take care of this. Really no problem. No muss or fuss. So something else I accomplished recently. My wife asked me a couple of years back, she was like, Joe, what if we got a list of stuff that needs to get done around the house that I wanted you to do? And then you did them, like, as a to-do list. I was like, that sounds fine. And she's like, great, it's called a honey-do list. And I was just like, wait, why is it called a honey-do list? She's like, she didn't justify it. She just kind of got flustered. And I'm like, well, I'll do this because I think it's a good idea to have a list of stuff that needs to get done, but I don't like the name honey-do list. Can we just call it something else? I'll let you workshop that, or I'm happy to workshop it with you. Like, what would be a good way to get us to a better name for this list? And she got kind of frustrated because she thought I was just being difficult because I didn't want to do the stuff on the list. So she never actually got back to me with names for this to-do list. And so I just basically spent the last few years guessing and like, what are the things around the house that I should do? And I think I probably did a pretty okay job at guessing what should have been on that list anyway, because she never really got mad at me or anything. And so, okay, that's actually really interesting with that suspended glass roof there. Let's go back into Cub's house and check this out. So, anyway. Yeah, that's kind of... I definitely like the lower cut there. I'm not sure. We might just want to move all that glass down. Gotta go find my... I've got a Silk Touch pickaxe somewhere, but got some issue I've got to find in it. I've recovered my Silk Touch pickaxe, so we can go ahead and actually start clearing up some of these little stone shapes here. But anyway, I was thinking recently, like, you know, it's been a few years, and maybe I've missed some things that would have been on this list. But I can't just go to my wife and say, hey, I know that I told you to make a name for this list that wasn't a honeydew list, and then you didn't do it. That just seems like I'm being a jerk at that point, you know? And so I decided, well, maybe I should come to her with a solution rather than coming to her with a problem. So what I did was I started workshopping new names for the honeydew list with the intention of, like, okay, I'm gonna figure out what are good names for a shared to-do list, you know? And I started with, like, well, honeydew is a kind of melon, which I think is why she liked the name, because she likes melons. But I don't really like that flavor of melon, which is part of my whole problem with the thing in the first place. I was like, I don't want to have a list of things where every time I'm trying to get motivated to do stuff around the house, I'm reminded of something unpalatable, right? You want to have positive associations between your work and things like that. It's a reinforcement loop thing. So anyway, I started thinking about it. I was like, well, so other types of melons. It could be like a watermelon list. No, that doesn't have the pun in it. I was like, well, honeydew has the do in it, like you can do it, and like, or to do, you know? So then I was like, well, what about Q is another word for list that sounds like do. So maybe something that combines those. And so I'm just like looking on like IMDb, and I'm like, IMDb has a huge list of the most popular movies of all time, or what they call the greatest movies of all time, or whatever. So I was like, what if I did some sort of pun, instead of being about melons, some sort of pun about movies, you know? So I was like, okay, well, so there's like things like Raiders of the List Arc, or instead of the Matrix, you could have the Mates List, because we're mates, like, not in the Australian sense, but like my wife and I are married, so that makes us mates. So I was like, maybe there's something there. And, you know, I was like, well, this U and Q and do all sound alike. Maybe, like, you can queue it, or a queue it yourself list. Like, you know, maybe that would be good. And then we could have a list on the fridge that says queue it yourself, and then she can queue things up and I can do them. That would be helpful, maybe. But I don't know. So I started just thinking about, like, other things that sound like list and things like that. And I kind of narrowed it down, and I was like, maybe the Grand To-Do List Hotel, or T for To-Do-Ta. No, she didn't actually like that one. I did actually picture like 30 of these. The one she ended up liking the most was a play on the Magic School Bus, List Frizzle. And so we now have a List Frizzle that my wife can leave things on there for me to do. Not necessarily things that I already know need to be done, because, for example, I know that the garbage needs to go out. I know that the clothes need to be washed or folded. Like, that stuff I know. But, like, for stuff like, curtain rod is loose, or, like, you know, tighten curtain rod. It's like, well, I'm not necessarily messing with every curtain rod in every part of the house, or, like, if there's something weird that needs to be adjusted, or fixed, or picked up, she can put that on there. So, anyway, yeah, we've been married about 6 years now, and, you know, 6 years in, we finally found a good name for a list that we're all happy with, and I'm falling into a pit. Okay, That's not a metaphorical pit. That was, I fell out of this ziggurat. But yeah, where were we? We were breaking glass and replacing glass. And trying not to fall down the memory hole again. Okay. On the whole, though, this is looking a lot better. This is not necessarily a completed build at this point, because the Latin on the downstairs part still leaves a lot to be desired. And we are actually missing sculptures for a lot of the hermits. So I kind of am thinking if I'm gonna, once this build is pretty much done, like structurally, which I'm doing at the moment, boom, it's pretty much, as soon as I break this glass, it's structurally done. What I want to do is actually have the other hermits, kind of, if they haven't already put their stuff in there, I'm just gonna decorate a thing for them. Whatever. It's based on 1984, and there's like a whole thing where, you know, Big Brother watches people and then stores information on them. And he also, like, has some sort of, like, you know, his eyes are on pictures and, what do you call them, posters. I know the word for posters. I kind of can. But, yeah, he's, like, on posters everywhere. One thing I was also thinking about this is, you know, if I got enough pieces, I could possibly build some sort of, like, holographic projector on the top of this thing. I don't know if I have the parts, though. Okay, we've got some blue wool. We've got a raw chicken. Okay. Well, with what we have on us, I think we would have a difficult time constructing a good holographic projector. So maybe we just need to accept that we're going to construct a bad holographic projector and then see how that goes. Let's see. So we're just going to run up here, and where can we mount? We are going to mount this banner probably here. Okay, and then we throw the chicken there. The chicken will channel raw meat energy directly into the banner, combined with the smoke there. Let's see, if we throw this trident at this wall, and then we let it come back to us. Alrighty, that should be 90%. We should be mostly done. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a little bit of distance so that we can actually see the thing. Iskall took that boat that was over here. Dang it, Iskall! That's fine. I can run over here on my own. So we're just gonna swing on this way. Let's go ahead and throw the switch and activate the holographic projector. Wait, that's not a switch. Nope. That one. Boom. There we go.
Hermits. Attention, hermits. Pig Brother is watching you. You better put your information in this building down here. This one. This is your last chance. If you don't add the information to this building down here, then I'm going to have to add information about you for you.
Wow, that was a scary message. That Pig Brother seems like a mean fella. But you know what? We better get into the, I don't know, a house. Because the moon is coming up, and things get really crazy around here in Minecraft once all the monsters start eating us and blowing up our friends' builds. So, anyway. Good night, Pig Brother. Good night, Moon. Good night, Scar with time. Howdy, Scar. I'm actually excited to see Scar. Yeah, this is a way better... I don't know, for some reason it's always making me go to bed twice. There we go. This to me looks like a way better ziggurat. It's layered, it's got a lot going on with it. We've got our additional tiers down here, which are still unfinished fully, but you know what? There's a sense of them. There's a sense of them. So, anyway, now that we got that built, and folks can go ahead and start adding all their info, yeah, we're going to tweak the light, and yeah, we're going to tweak the downstairs. I'm thinking I might even put my Patreon patrons gallery kind of thing down, because like in previous versions of the server, I've had like a Patreon monument of some kind, and having records of my patrons down underneath in the Ministry of Truth seems kind of fitting. Though I might talk to them and brainstorm some other ideas for what would be a fit and patron monument, because if I'm going to be a nomad this season, I want to move around a lot. I really want to put this build-in here in my rear view window, in rear view mirror, I don't know. Mirrors can be windows to the soul, or something. Anyway, goodbye, son. This episode's almost over. Goodbye, building. I'm on a nomadic adventure. Ministry of Truth, Pig Brother, farewell. I am striking off on my own to build something else. But not another wishing well, because, oh my goodness, I tried to give people basically free paper and no one has taken any. There's chests full of free paper over there. All you gotta do is make one good wish. One good wish. But anyway, I'm just ranting now. We need to be on the road, exploring, adventuring, looking for new places to build. But I do have those blaze rods from before, and I do think building a new brewing stand, public house, would be a good idea. But which district? I don't know. Leave comments in the comments section below. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring.